You'll have to turn off your microphone over there because I heard your wife teaching your son. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right, so I think let's do Yom Revi'i today, even though today is Yom Shlishi. Oh, here we go. So we did this yesterday. Let's go to Yom Revi'i. Here we go. Four portion. Vayelech Bilam and Balak. Vayavo Kiryat Chutzot. Okay, here we see an interesting thing. I just looked at the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh. The Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh is one of the explainers of the Torah, commentators of the Torah. And it says that he was, in many ways, he was holier than the Baal Shem Tov. So the Baal Shem Tov wanted to meet him. Anyway, so he has a very beautiful explanation. Some say that he wrote this explanation all for his daughter. As it would be a simple explanation. So he asked a very obvious question. First of all, why in the world did God even let Bilam go in the first place? And in the beginning, we see that God told Bilam that he shouldn't go. And then God says that he can go. Right? Remember in the beginning, God says, don't go with him. Al telech imohem, don't go with him. And then afterwards, God says, okay, you can do with him, but you have to do what I want. You can go with him. So the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh explains like this. It's very important for the Jews that Goyim respect God. That's the reason why the Jews are here. The Jews are chosen, but the non-Jews should respect God. God is the creator. And especially God's Torah. So God gives this power of prophecy to Bilam, so that the non-Jews won't say that we didn't have a prophet. If we would have had a prophet, then we would have done much better than we're doing now. So God gives this power of prophecy to Bilam. And Bilam uses all this power of prophecy and holiness and whatever that God gives him. God actually talks to him. And he uses it to destroy the Jews. As soon as he's there, it says he has a nefesh rachava, ayin ra, nefesh rachava. So it says immediately that Bilam, he has all these lusts and these desires and these ego trips. And he's going on and he wants to kill the Jews. And so first of all, there's two worries now here. Now here we have Bilam, God gives him this power, but on the other hand, God wants the non-Jews to know that God is the boss. So there's two worries over it. This is what the Ohr HaChaim says. There's two worries. Number one, they might think that God cannot control Bilam. That Bilam can do whatever he wants to. That's worry number one. Number two, they might think that God is afraid of Bilam. So therefore, to get rid of the first misconception that the Goyim have, that God can't control Bilam, so he says to Bilam, don't go. And that means he's controlled. He can't go. So then the non-Jews can think, okay, maybe the reason that God doesn't want Bilam to go is because he's afraid of him. And because he knows that Bilam, once he gets in control, that God won't be able to stop him. So therefore he's stopping him early. So afterwards, God realized this because he wants the non-Jews to realize what Hashem really is. So he says, okay, you know what? You can go. Don't let anybody think that I'm afraid of you. You're going to go and you're going to do exactly what I want. And Chassidic explains that the main reason that he let Bilam go was because the only way you can achieve such blessings that Bilam brought, the prophecies about Mashiach, is only through difficulties. That's why God put us in this terrible world. Because only by being in this world, that's what the mimer that we're learning in the morning, is that only in this world can the real true essence of God be revealed. And Bilam is as low as you can go in the world. This is like world. The ultimate level of world is Bilam. It's the ultimate level of world. That you can actually stand up and curse the Jews and go against God and make war. That's Bilam. And we'll see that there's a sikha by the Rebbe, that the Rebbe, he equates Bilam and Amalek, the letters of Bilam and the letters of Amalek. If you take the letters of Bilam, write them out, Beit, Ayin, Lamed, Mem. No, Beit, Lamed, Ayin, Mem. I'm sorry, Bilam. I'm sorry. Beit, Lamed, Ayin, Mem. You write underneath it Amalek. So if you take the first two letters of Bilam and the first two letters of Amalek, Beit, Lamed, and Ayin, Mem, so you get Bilam. Then you take the second two letters of Bilam and the second two letters of Amalek, so you get Balak. You get Amalek. First two letters, you get the first two letters of Bilam and the first two letters of Amalek. Then you take the last two letters of Bilam, which is Ayin Mem, and the last two letters of Amalek, which is Mem, which is the Lamed Kuf, and you get Bilam, and you get Amalek. So you can see that the first two letters of both spell out Bilam, and the last two letters of both spell out Amalek. Okay, so in other words, they're both equal. What does it mean they're both equal? That their whole being is devoted to destroying the Jews. They don't care if they get killed. Makes no difference. That's what's called Keter of Klippa. The last mimer that the Rabbi Rashab said. Reshit Goyim Amalek. All right, so here we have Bilam, and he is going to make his effort to curse the Jews, and it comes out different episode. Let's look at this. Here we go. Ready? Vayelech Bilam and Balak. Bilam went together with Balak by Yavo Kiryat Chutzot, Ir Malay Shvakim. It's a city that's filled with marketplaces. Anashim v'nashim v'tav b'chutzoteim. That's why it's called external. There's all these marketplaces, and there's children and women and people wandering around outside all the time. Lomer to say, Ra'av Rachem Shalo Yakru Elu. He wanted to show Bilam, Balak wanted to show Bilam, take a look at these people wandering around. You want them all to be destroyed? The Jews are going to destroy them all. You have to do your ultimate to get rid of the Jewish people, right? Vayizbach Balak Bakar Vatzon. So Balak made sacrifices, oxes and sheep. Veishlach leBilam, l'sarim, and Bilam sent for his sarim asher ito. So he sent, Balak made these sacrifices, and he sent Bilam for Bilam and the ministers that are with him. Bakar Vatzon, davar muad, a little bit. Bakar echad, Vatzon echad, bilavad. He sacrificed the bare minimum. And he said, Bilam, I've set the whole stage for you. Start cursing. Vayiba Bokar Vayikach Balak is Bilam. In the morning, Balak took Bilam. Now, Balak is really afraid. He says he's really afraid. He's got the Jews here, and he knows the Jews always win. So he's really shaking. Vayeleo Bomod Baal. He took him to a place which is called Bomod Baal. We'll see what this is. What is Bomod Baal? He took him to the bottom. It says Rashi, Bomod Targuma, like the Aramaic translation of Onkelos. The Ramat HaChaltia. That's the place. It's a Shem of Avodah. It's a name of idolatry. So he went to this place of Bomod Baal. I guess the Goyim used to worship this idol called the Baal, which was basically sun worship. That's what I heard. They used to worship the sun and the moon. And so Balak took Bilam up there, Vayar Misham Katseam, and he saw a little bit of the Jewish people. Vayomer Bilam el Balak, and Bilam said to Balak, Bane li Shiva Mizbachot, build over here 7 altars. Now we're going to see these 7 altars correspond to 7 times that Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov made sacrifices to Hashem. V'halchen li b'zeh shiva parim v'shiva elim, and prepare for me 7 oxes and 7 rams. Vayaz Balak asher diber Balaam, vayal Balak u'Bilam par va'el b'mizbeach. They did it. They both offered up offerings. Vayomer Bilam leBalak. Bilam said to Balak, ready? Hityatsev al olatecha. Stand over your sacrifice. Hilcha, and I will go. La yikareh Hashem yikarati. Maybe God will occur to me. Udavar ma'yer eini v'higad v'hilach. I'll tell you. He'll tell me what to show me, and I'll tell it to you. Vayilech Shefi, and he went Shefi. What does this mean? Shefi. We'll see in a second that he went. We'll see. Ula yikareh God. Maybe God will appear to me. Eino regila daber imi biyom. God usually does not speak to me in the daytime. God would speak to him in the nighttime. And now it's day. Vayelech Shefi, what does it mean, Shefi? Shefi means alone. Shufi v'sheket, like means quiet. She'ein imo ela shtika. In other words, he goes quietly. He's going to talk about this more later on. Vayikar Elokim el Bilam, and Hashem occurred to Bilam. Now, this is something like Vayikra Hashem el Moshe, Vayikra, God called. But there's missing over here the aleph. And the word Vayikar, you're going to see, is a bad thing. Vayikar Elokim the Bilam, Vayomer 11, he said to him, at Sheva Mizbechos Arachti, Bilam said to God, I have 7 altars, and I offered up offerings. This is what Bilam says to God, right? Vayikar Elohim Bilam vayomer elav shiva mizbechos arachti v'al par mizbech. Vayikar lashon arai. What does arai mean? Like by accident, casual, accidentally. Lashon ganai. Lashon tuma, also carry. Carry means a nocturnal emission. Kolomer, Bakushi ubibizion. God didn't really want to, it just happened that he happened to occur to me. The only reason God appeared to Bilam in the daytime was just to show how much he loved the Jewish people. Why? Because he's going to say to Bilam, okay, curse away. You're going to see it's all going to turn into blessings. You're going to see what I think about the Jews. Bilam said, hey, God, I made 7 altars over here. Listen, Shiva Mizbachot Arachti Ein Kativ. It doesn't say I made Shiva at Shiva HaMizbachot. The 7 Mizbachot. What does it mean? Omer Lefanav, he said in front of God, Avoteim She'elu, the forefathers of the Jews, Banu Lefanacha Shiva Mizbachot. They made 7 altars. Fani, Arachti Keneged Kulam. And I did the same thing as them. I mean, what's really the value of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? God, really, seriously, I mean, they made a few altars. So all together, they made 7. Right? They made 7. Avram made 4. Like it says, he quotes what they are. Vayivan Sham Yizbech Lashem and Nira Love, Vayatek Misham, Ahora. It says, Vayel Avram, etc. Ve'echad Mehem. Moriah, I made another one in Moriah. Yitzchak, he made 1. Vayivan Sham Yizbech. Yaakov made 2. 1 in Shechem and 1 in Beit El. It took 3 of them to make 7 altars, and me alone, I made 7. So I'm worth more than any one of them. That's what Bilam is trying to say. None of them made altars like me. I made 7 for you. The most was Abraham. He made 4. The Al Par B'Al Mizbeach, he said, and even more, Avram only sacrificed just an ayal echad, right? After he went to sacrifice Yitzchak. There's only 1 ram. And I made a ram and an ox. So I'm better than Abraham. Vayasam Hashem davar b'fiya Bilam, and God put prophecy in the mouth of Bilam, Vayomer, and he said, Shuv el Balak b'koltaber, go back to Balak and tell him like this. Vayashav elav, he went back to Balak. So when Balak is standing over there on his offering that he's made, Huvu called Vasarim Moab, and all the ministers and the important people of Moab, with mixed emotions. They don't know what he's going to say now. On one hand, Bilam is their only hope, and is their only hope, and maybe it'll work. On the other hand, maybe not. Vayisa Mashalo Vayomar, and Bilam said, Min Aram Yanchani Balak Melech Moav Mihare Kedem. From Aram Balak took me, the king of Moab, took me from the mountains of Kedem, from the primordial mountains. And he said, L'cha Ari Liakov, come curse for me the Jacob, L'cha Zoama Yisrael. And another word for cursing the Jewish people. Let's see what Rashi says. B'shtei Shem Osayim Omar Lo L'Kalam. He said, Yaakov and Yisrael. Shema Echad Me'em Eino Muvhak. There's what's called a Shem Muvhak. In other words, what does it mean, Shem Muvhak? Like when you're writing deeds, a deed of sale, a deed of divorce. So you have to put the person's name there. We saw before that when the Jews, this was last week, remember when the Jews fought, when the clouds of glory went away, and it says that there came Kanani. The Kanani was really Amalek and disguised himself as Kanani. Why did he do that? Because he hoped that the Jews would pray to God, put the Kananis and let me defeat the Kananis. And they really weren't Kananis, they were Amalek. And so God wouldn't answer their prayers, would answer their prayers about the Kanani, but these weren't Kananis. So you have to pray to God for exactly what is necessary. That's the way prayer works. It says back there, finally the Jews said, put the enemy into my hands. So the same thing over here. But Bilam wants to curse the Jews, so he says, come and curse me. Right? Balak hires Bilam, and he says, curse for me Yaakov and curse for me Yisrael. That's the same thing Yaakov was. He says, no, because maybe one is not the main word that's always used. The fact is that Jews are very rarely called Yaakov. They're called Bnei Yisrael. So therefore, he wanted in any way that he could to be sure that the curse would fall. Of course, it didn't. Ches, Ma'akov Lokovel, says Bilam, how can I curse someone that God doesn't curse? Uma ezom, and how can I be, zam, I guess, is another word for cursing, but means like to be angry. How can I be angry at the one that God is not angry at? Ma'akov Lokova ekel, kish hayro'uyim, when the Jewish people really deserve to get cursed, Lonit Kalu, God didn't curse them. Kish is kiravim esavanam. When God reminded them of their sins, he said, Ki ba'apam hargu ish, Shimon v'Levi, it says that they killed the people of Shechem. God didn't curse Shimon v'Levi, lo kilo el apam. He just said that their anger is bad. Shene'amar, like it says in Bereshis, arur apam ki kashasa, it says that their anger was a bad thing. Kashenichnas aviyam b'mirma, etzel aviv, haya ra'ui litkalel. When they came into his father, they were fitting to be cursed. Ma ne'amar Hashem, it says, Gam Baruch Yiyeh. When Esav tried to steal when Yaakov stole the blessing from Esav, and Yaakov pretended to be the firstborn, and he stole the blessing from Esav, and then Esav came in afterwards, and he said, my brother came b'mirma, with trickery, and he take the blessing away from him, from Yaakov. God said to Esav, I blessed him, and he's going to remain blessed. Even though he got the blessing, want to call it illegally. But God said he's going to be the blessing. The Jews deserve a blessing no matter what. There's a story, a long story, which I don't want to tell the whole story. Maybe I'll tell later another time. That someone wrote into a letter to the Rebbe anyway, and he said, I brought a lot of letters from people back home with me, and I hope because I'm such a bad person and I did a few sins that you won't give a blessing to these people. I'm a bad messenger. Maybe I'll remind you of my sins and you won't give me a blessing, or the people whose letters I brought blessings. So the Rebbe wrote back to him, he said, there's no such thing as a Jew that doesn't deserve a blessing. It doesn't make any difference what you did. It's a long story. If you remind me, maybe tomorrow I'll tell you about it. Beautiful story. El ala kalala. Lo ratzah lahaskir aleim shem kalala. God did not want to mention a curse on the Jewish people. Lo za'am Hashem, ani ein kochi ella, my power. Bilam said, how can I curse the one that God doesn't curse? Even when the Jews deserve curses, God doesn't curse them. How can I arouse God's anger if God himself is not angry on these people? Ani ein bekochi ella, I haven't got any power, says Bilam. Bilam is saying, listen, I'm not creating the world. I'm not God. I don't have the power of life and death. All I know is how to make curses. All I can do is find out the time when God is angry at someone, and I can bring this wrath down on him. Like you have a magnifying glass when the sun is out. You can take a magnifying glass and you can concentrate the light and make a fire. But if the sun is not out, you can concentrate with a magnifying glass all you want. It's not going to make a fire. When Hashem is angry, so I can concentrate that anger on the Jewish people, but Hashem doesn't get angry at them. God has not been angry all these days, has not been angry at the Jewish people. That's what it says in Prophet Micha, Ami, my people, Zacharno ma ya'etz Hashem, what Bilam wanted to do. Ma'anoto Bilam. I mean, remember what Balak wanted to do and what Bilam answered him. Laman dat tzidkot Hashem, so that you'll know the justice and the righteousness of Hashem, that Hashem loves the Jewish people, even though he punishes them and he gets angry at them and etc. But he loves them. Okay, let's do a little bit more. Here, this is what we're learning in the Sikha in the morning. Remember, Ki mirosh tsurim ereno umigvaot ashureno. From the top of the mountains I see him, and from the high places I view him. Hen am levadad yishkon. They are a nation that dwells alone. Ubagoyim lo yitchashav. And among the other nations, they are not reckoned. In other words, get out of the United Nations. Ki mirosh tsurim ereno ani mistakel barosheim. I, says Bilam, and looking at the beginnings of them, from the top of the mountains. What do I say? I see that their foundation is tremendously strong. Like these mountains and high places. That's the avos and the imahos. That's what we learned in the Sikha, right? Bilam said, how can I destroy the Jews? Look at what a foundation they have. But look what they're built on. They're a nation that dwells alone. I'll tell you a story about this also. They're a nation that dwells alone. Hu asher zachu lo avotenu lishkon badad. That this is what Avram and Yitzchak and Yaakov merited, that the Jewish people are totally alone. The Jewish people are totally alone. They have a special treatment by God. And this does not mean only the Jews that are in Israel, and it does not mean only the Jews that are religious, and it doesn't mean only the Jews that even know that they're Jewish. All of the Jewish people, they are badad. They're separate. It's a separate thing, the Jews. They are not reckoned with the rest of the goyim. The Targum, like the Targum says, what does the Targum say? Lo yiyu nasim kala im shar umot. That they will not be destroyed with all of the other nations. Like it says, he's as a kalal b'kol goyim, I will destroy all the other nations. Enu nimnim in a shar, they are not measured with the rest. When is this destruction going to happen? When? It already happened. Well, you see any Romans wandering around? There's the Babylonians, right? You see the Babylonians at one time? They conquered the whole world. Where are they now? No more Babylonians. There was the Persian Empire, the great Persian Empire, nothing. Now it's Iran, is the same thing as it was back then. Nothing. Genghis Khan, all these people, gone. Gone with the wind. All of them are just scattered all over the place. And the Jewish people are still existing already 3,300 years since we got out of Egypt. The same nation, the same Torah. No matter what we've done, 2,000 of those years, we didn't have our own country, we didn't have our own army, we didn't have our own nothing. And here we are, Jewish people. We are not reckoned with the other nations, not like the Greeks and not like the others. These were so powerful nations. They ruled over everyone, and now they're gone. Said Davar Acher, another explanation. When the Jew, what does it mean? Badad. Jewish people, the Jewish nation are alone. When the Jews are happy, no nation is happy with them. Like it says, Hashem badad yinchenu. God directs them alone. When it's good for the non-Jews, then the Jews also benefit, and God does not take it away from their merits. That's what it means with the Bogoyim lo yitchashev, that what they benefit from the non-Jews is not taken away from their own merits. I'll just tell you a very short story. This thing about Am Badad Yishkon. I mean, I don't know if you fellows any of you live in Israel. I don't know who's listening now. But the Israelis, especially the leftist Israelis, the rightists aren't really much better, but the leftist Israelis are very, very, very against the idea, maybe the most repulsive idea that there can possibly be to the leftist Israelis and 90% of the rightist ones, that we Jewish people are the chosen people. Boom, this is the worst. You cannot say this thing. By them, that's the whole reason there was the Holocaust. The worst, most disgusting thing they could possibly think of is to say the Jews are the chosen people. That is just repulsive, insane, bigoted. Chosen. We're like everybody else. We'll just live. So once my wife used to have this big advertising agency, so they invited her for a Shabbat with all the other religious advertising agencies. So we went there. So it was a place in Jerusalem. I enjoy going to things like this, like I enjoyed going to the dentist, but I went. Anyway, they invited this guy. His name is Uzi Baram. He's a very famous, I don't know if he's even alive anymore. Very famous, leftist, super leftist Israeli. And the leftists, they're the ones that really control the whole business. It's just a miracle that, anyway. So they invited him to speak. Why they invited him to speak? I think he lived next door or something like that. I don't know. And a lot of these people, they know about religion. They know about Judaism. I mean, they don't do anything. They not anything. Don't do it. They do in quiet. They're ashamed. Some of them keep kosher, some of them this. Anyway, so he was talking about how it's necessary to make peace with the Palestinians, and there's going to be progress, and there's going to be this. And so I said to him, I said, can I talk? And all these other religious people, you should know all the other religious people in Israel, they're not like Chabad exactly. They say, give peace a chance. The other religious groups basically are leftist. In other words, live and let live. You do your thing, I'll do mine. Don't mess up in my life. Let me live a religious life, and you live a non-religious. It's okay with me. Just don't mess around with me. So they say, you want to make peace, do whatever you want. Anyway, so I stood up, And this guy is talking about how we have to make peace with the Palestinians and this and the whole world. So I said to him, I'd like to talk for 2 minutes. I said, you can look at the watch just for 2 minutes, no more. So he said, okay, talk. So I said, listen, you believe that if you give, and you give away lands and money and things like that to the Arabs, that there's going to be peace. And I believe that there won't be any peace. I believe that there won't be any. You're entitled to your faith, and I'm entitled to my faith. My faith, my belief is that the Arabs have no desire for peace, and they never have any desire for peace, and they've never made peace with anybody, and there's not going to be any peace. And you have your faith that they will. I said, the only problem is that my faith is based on facts. You show a picture of the Arabs with an Israeli flag, and so. And yours is based on faith. So it ends up that I'm the religious person, and I have faith that's based on, and your faith is blind faith. And all these religious people, they just turned around and they just had arrows in their eyes. Who are you to talk? And I was just repeating what the Rebbe says. I'm not the. So he said, listen, we are not an Am Badad Yishkon. He brought this post sentence from the door. We're not an Am Badad Yishkon. The whole world is against us. The whole world is against us. We can't be a nation that's alone. The whole world. So I said to him, listen, the whole world is against us, but we have and the whole world, I said, is big, but we have a God that's much, much bigger. He creates all of them. And he said, no, we can't be an Am Badad Yishkon. I said, my friend, that's a blessing, Am Badad Yishkon, that we are considered by God to be this. And he goes, okay, thank you very much. Turned on the next person. And all the other people, religious people there, they were angry at me. Whoa, they said, who are you? How do you know? This is a politician. He knows politics. What do you know? He's just quoting your. The religious guys with primals on and everything. So it's this. The reason I told you the story is this thing, Am Badad Yishkon, that we are a nation alone. What do you mean, Badad? Usually alone means, abandoned. Sometimes it does mean, like in Eicha Yeshva Badad, means abandoned, alone. But here he's saying Badad in a good way. And that's what we are, and that's what Bilam revealed, that even the greatest, most powerful, most successful, super atomic cursor, that he made curses that were infallible. What? Infallible. They couldn't fail. Non-fail proof curses. It didn't work against the Jews. That nothing in the world will work to destroy the Jewish people. But they can make a lot of troubles for the Jews. Okay, here we go. Next, let us learn Pirkei Avot.